If you are thinking about planting static grass in your layout, stay tuned because that's what we are going to do in this episode. We are going to plant static grass right now. Hi, I'm Roy Smith. Today I'm going to plant static grass in Echo Canyon on my N-scale layout. Today's episode is part of a continuing series about my Echo Canyon project. It's always a pleasure to share my progress with you in hopes that you may find it useful when working on your own layout. In fact, that's what we do on this channel. We share the hobby of model railroading, so I invite you to go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you're new here so that you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. I want to tell you right up front that I am not an expert on planting static grass, and this isn't a how-to video. Rather, it's a how I did it video. There are tons of static grass how-to videos on the internet, and I encourage you to take a look at some of them. I'm learning about this product as I go, and I just want to share my experience with you. Applying static grass on your layout may seem to be a little intimidating if you have never done it before. You may be concerned about which product to choose, you may be wondering how best to apply it, and you may be worried about the kind of results you will get. The secret, I think, is to take your time and to keep working at it until you get it the way you want it to be. By the way, I understand that a Union Pacific's steam locomotive number 844 will be passing through Echo Canyon at the head of an eastbound excursion train in a few minutes. Let's be watching for it. Okay, we are going to begin by taking a quick look at the colors and sizes of grass that I have. First, these grasses on the left are those which came with my WWS static grass applicator. And on the right are those I bought from Scenic Express. The colors are mostly green, brown, and yellow as you can see, and the sizes are 2, 4, and 6 millimeters. I did have some trouble finding the colors I most wanted, yellow and very light green, in the 4 millimeter size. By the way, I laid out all of the grass I have here on the bed in the guest room, which is right next to the train room, in order to see what I have. So if you come to visit me right now, you may have to sleep on the grass. Now, back in the train room, I am removing a handful of trees that I previously put on the layout so that I can begin to apply the static grass here on the floor of Echo Canyon. This is what the floor of Echo Canyon looks like before I begin to cover it with static grass. Okay, it's time to start with the grass. This is the moment we have been waiting for. First, this yellow-brown 2 millimeter color as a basing grass. I put it in a jar where I can break up the clumps of grass so that it will pass through the mesh of the applicator more easily. By the way, if you have a ceiling fan in your train room as I do, now might be a good time to turn it off. Otherwise, you could end up with static grass fibers everywhere. The first step in the process is to apply a coat of glue where you want to plant grass. Any white glue may work, but I'm using WWS basing glue because it's what I have. I spread it around with a small brush. Now you need to insert a nail or screw in the area where you are going to put down static grass. You are going to attach an alligator clip on the applicator to the nail. Doing this allows the 9-volt battery in the applicator to create an electrical field which pulls the static grass through the mesh in the hopper and causes it to land in a vertical position in the glue. Now I am putting some static grass in the hopper. I turn on the applicator, attach the alligator clip to the nail, and begin to apply the grass on top of the glue by shaking the applicator. Remember, we are applying 2mm grass at this point. It is really short and it looks like somebody just mowed the grass. I like to vacuum after applying each coat of static grass to pick up any of it that got scattered around on the layout. You can insert a stocking or an old handkerchief, as I have done, in the end of the vacuum hose to catch the static grass that you vacuum up. You can save it and reuse it. Now I'm going to put down a 2mm light green basing grass. I am using green grass along the creek and yellow grass further away from the creek to suggest that conditions are drier further away from the creek. Next, I am going to put down a blend of the 2mm yellow and green grass in the middle to create a transition between the two colors. And here it is. You can see the transition from yellow to green. Although the grass is only 2mm tall at this point, you can see it standing up if you look closely and from a low angle. I could stop applying grass altogether right now. It looks pretty good already, but I want to go on with the 4mm and 6mm grasses just to see what they will look like. So I'm going to put down 4mm grass next, and to do that I must first apply layering spray. But before I can apply the layering spray, I need to cover the track and creek with paper towels because I don't want to get the spray or the static grass all over the track and creek. There, the track and creek are safely covered. I can now apply the layering spray, putting down the static grass in layers from the shortest to the tallest fibers is the secret to great looking static grass. And layering spray must be applied between each layer of grass. Okay, here goes the 4mm static grass. First, green. Then brown. The second color is the dominant color because much of the first color gets hidden by the second color that you apply. So it's important to decide which is the dominant color and apply that color second. Now I'm going to put down the third and final application of static grass, this time using 2 shades of 6mm yellow grass. There, it's done. I have removed the paper towels, and this is the final result of the application of the 3 sizes of static grass by layering them on top of each other. Let me take the camera off of the tripod for a low-angle view. This is the best way to see if the grass is standing up. The murky water in the creek is reflecting the color of the green grass along the banks of the creek. Even though the creek was covered, I can see that some of the grass still got on it. I will clean it off with a very soft makeup brush. Now I will eventually put some of the grass along Echo Canyon Road, just like the prototype. First though, I have to put down some gravel along the road, representing the shoulders of the road. For this, I am using fine gray ballast and sifting it on with my fingertips. I noticed that the static grass looked like a solid carpet after I applied it. What I really wanted was some bare spots where little or no grass was growing, just like the prototype. You can see those bare spots here. This is how I created them. I used a fine, buff-colored ballast. I sifted it on with my fingertips. The head of a foam nail worked well for tamping the ballast down in such a narrow space. Next, I applied isopropyl alcohol to serve as a wetting agent. The alcohol will help the glue that comes next penetrate deep into the ballast. Then I applied a 50-50 mix of white glue and water. And again, I tamped the ballast down with the head of a foam nail. There, I have finished applying static grass on the floor of Echo Canyon. At least I think I have. So I am putting the trees back where they were at the beginning of this video. But I can see that I made a mistake when taking out the trees earlier. I didn't put toothpicks in the original holes of the trees, and now I can't find the holes because I covered them with static grass. So I have to make new holes. I should have put toothpicks in the holes as I am demonstrating now. I will be making more trees to plant along the creek, mostly in this same area. As you go further east in the canyon, the terrain becomes drier, and you see few, if any, trees, as this photo of the prototype shows. Well, look here. Here comes UP-844 heading up that eastbound excursion train right on schedule. Okay, what have I learned from applying static grass in Echo Canyon? Well, I have learned that getting static grass to look perfect isn't as easy as it appears to be. Sometimes the grass falls down flat in the glue instead of standing up straight. Sometimes it's hard to find the colors and sizes you want. And sometimes it's difficult to achieve a gradual transition between colors of grass. Like most things on a layout, there is a learning curve. It takes time and patience, and skill comes with experience. I am pleased with the results that I got with static grass, but perhaps I could have used other scenery materials to achieve satisfactory results. For example, I want to try out grass mats elsewhere on my layout in the future. You know those grass mats that you stretch out the fabric before gluing them down on the terrain? In a future episode, I'm going to create tufts and grass patches to try on my layout. The biggest problem I encountered was using a static grass applicator in a narrow area like the area along Echo Creek. The grass tends to go everywhere, including places you don't want it to go. I imagine that this is less of a problem when putting down static grass in larger areas. I learned how important it is to gradually blend the grass when transitioning from one color to another, because you seldom see distinct lines separating colors in nature. I have learned that it's easy to apply too much grass, creating a solid carpet with no bare spots of soil. Leaving bare spots is especially important in the semi-arid climate that I am modeling. I have learned that static grass fibers have a tendency to fly everywhere and stick to everything, even where you have not applied any glue. So you have to keep a vacuum cleaner and soft brushes handy to clean it up. And you have to cover the track and bodies of water before spraying the layout with any kind of adhesive. There are lots of videos on the internet about static grass. I have learned that it's a good idea to watch some of them and learn from the experts. Well, that has been my experience with static grass. Putting it down in Echo Canyon has been fun. I like the results, and I will be using it elsewhere on my layout. If you have applied static grass on your layout, I'd love to hear about your experience with it in the comments down below. Don't hesitate to share your experience with others who may be thinking about trying it. Well, I hope you found this video to be useful. If so, I encourage you to give it a thumbs up. And if you're here for the first time, I hope you will subscribe to this channel and click on the little bell icon so that you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. Until next time, thanks for watching. Happy railroading. I will see you again very soon.